The conference room felt colder than it should have been. Or maybe that was just me. I'd built empires in rooms like this, closed deals worth millions, crushed competitors without blinking. But today, my hands were steady only because I'd spent years learning how to lie to myself. She walked in like she owned the place. Confident. Polished. Every inch the corporate weapon her father had trained her to be. The burgundy suit fit her perfectly, tailored to intimidate, to command respect. Her hair was pulled back in a way that made her look untouchable. Professional. Cold. But I saw through it all. Because 5 years ago, she used to wear my oversized hoodies and laugh until she couldn't breathe. 5 years ago, she kissed me under streetlights and promised me forever in a voice that trembled with hope. 5 years ago, she destroyed me. "Mr. Chen," she said, extending her hand across the polished table. Her voice was smooth, controlled. Not a flicker of recognition. "I'm Lila Rosewood. I'll be handling the merger negotiations on behalf of Rosewood Industries." I looked at her hand. Didn't take it. "I know who you are," I said quietly. Something flickered in her eyes. Just for a second. A crack in the armor. Then it was gone, replaced by that cool professionalism she wore like a shield. "Then you know we're here to discuss terms," she continued, lowering her hand slowly. "My father's company has a proposal that—" "Your father's company is drowning," I interrupted, leaning back in my chair. "That's why you're here. That's why you specifically are here." Her jaw tightened. "We're exploring strategic partnerships." "You're begging." The room went silent. My assistant shifted uncomfortably beside me, but I kept my eyes on Lila. On the way her fingers curled slightly against the leather portfolio she carried. On the way her breathing changed, just barely, when I said the word begging. She sat down, composed as ever. "Then let's not waste each other's time. What do you want?" What did I want? I wanted to go back 5 years. Back to when I was nobody, just a broke college kid with big dreams and bigger debts. Back to when she looked at me like I was her whole world, even when her father made it clear I wasn't worthy of breathing the same air as his precious daughter. I wanted to tell her that every building I'd bought, every company I'd acquired, every success I'd carved out of nothing, it was all because of her. Because she'd left me with nothing but rage and ambition, and I'd turned both into an empire. But what I said was, everything. She blinked. "That's not how negotiations work. It is when you're desperate." I slid a folder across the table. "Those are my terms. Your father signs over 60% of Rosewood Industries. You personally oversee the transition for the next year. Full operational control transfers to me." "That's insane," she said, but her voice wavered. "You're asking us to give you the company." "I'm offering to save it. There's a difference." She opened the folder. I watched her eyes scan the numbers, the clauses, the fine print that would essentially make her my employee. Her father's legacy would become mine. Everything they'd built, everything they'd valued more than love, more than loyalty, more than me, would belong to the boy they'd thrown away. "Why?" she asked quietly, not looking up. "Why what? Why do you care? You could let us fail. You could watch from the sidelines and celebrate our downfall." Finally, she met my gaze. And there it was, that crack widening. "So why make an offer at all?" "Because I'm not as strong as I pretend to be. Because seeing you fail would hurt me more than it would satisfy me. Because despite everything, despite the years and the anger and the carefully constructed walls, my heart still recognizes yours." "Business opportunity," I said instead. "Rosewood Industries has assets worth acquiring." "That's not what I asked." "That's the only answer you're getting." She closed the folder, stood up. For a moment, I thought she'd walk out. Refuse the deal. Let pride destroy what was left of her family's empire. Part of me wanted her to. Part of me wanted the excuse to watch it all burn. But she didn't leave. "I need time to discuss this with my father," she said. You have 48 hours. That's not enough. 48 hours, Lila. After that, the offer disappears, and so does your company's last lifeline. Her hands trembled, just slightly, before she pressed them flat against the table. You've changed. You made sure of that. The words hung between us like broken glass. Sharp. Dangerous. True. I did what I had to do, she whispered. So did I. She frowned at me and I saw it. The girl who used to trace constellations on my skin and whisper about a future we'd build together. The girl who cried in my arms when her father threatened to disown her for dating beneath her station. The girl who promised she'd fight for us, no matter what. The girl who disappeared the night her father offered her a choice, me or everything she'd ever known. You hate me, she said. Not a question. I should have said yes. Should have let her believe the cold, calculating businessman across the table was all that remained of the boy who once loved her. Should have given her that clean break, that simple narrative. But I'd built an empire on lies. I was tired of adding one more. I wish I did, I admitted. Her breath caught. For a second, just one perfect, terrible second, I saw everything she was trying to hide. The regret. The longing. The weight of a choice that destroyed us both. Then her phone buzzed, and the mask slipped back into place. 48 hours, she repeated, gathering her things. Lila. She stopped at the door, didn't turn around. Why did you come yourself? I asked. You could have sent anyone to negotiate. Why you? The silence stretched. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely audible. Because I owed you that much. To face you. To let you have your revenge. And if revenge isn't what I want. She turned then, and her eyes, God, her eyes, held everything words couldn't say. All the pain. All the love that never quite died, no matter how hard we tried to kill it. Then you're stronger than I am, she said. Because revenge is the only thing keeping me from falling apart in front of you. She left before I could respond. Left me sitting in that cold conference room with the ghost of who we used to be. My assistant cleared his throat. Sir, should I prepare the acquisition paperwork? I nodded, not trusting my voice. Because here's what I'd learned in 5 years of building empires. Revenge is easy. Revenge is clean. You destroy what hurt you, and you walk away victorious. But forgiveness, love, those are complicated. Messy. They require courage I wasn't sure either of us possessed anymore. 48 hours. In 48 hours, I'd either own everything she'd sacrificed me for, or I'd let it all go and prove that some part of the boy she loved still existed. I looked at the folder she'd left behind. Noticed something tucked inside, a small, worn photograph. Me and her. Years ago. Before the money, before the empire, before everything fell apart. We were laughing at something I couldn't remember, her head on my shoulder, my arm around her waist. She'd kept it. All this time, through everything, she'd kept it. I pressed my palms against my eyes, tried to breathe through the ache in my chest. Tomorrow, I'd make a decision. Tomorrow, I'd choose between the revenge I'd carefully crafted and the forgiveness I wasn't sure I was brave enough to offer. But tonight, I'd allow myself to remember what it felt like to be the boy who loved her, before the world taught us both that love wasn't enough. 48 hours, that's what I gave her. But it's funny how time bends around certain people. Every second since she left that room felt louder than my heartbeat. I told myself I didn't care what she decided, that this was business. But I couldn't stop replaying her voice, her expression when she said revenge was all that kept her from falling apart. It didn't sound like pride. It sounded like pain. That night, I didn't go home. I drove for hours through the city lights, the same city where we once dreamed together, back when our love was the only empire I ever wanted to build. Every corner felt haunted. Every red light reminded me how easily I'd stopped believing in her. When I finally parked, it wasn't anywhere impressive. Just a small café tucked behind the street where we first met. Back then I used to work there part-time, wiping tables and pretending I wasn't counting coins to afford textbooks. And she, the daughter of Richard Rosewood, used to come in hiding beneath a hoodie, just to see me. I walked in. The same bell chimed. The same smell of roasted beans and vanilla lingered. Only one thing was different. She was already there. Lila. She turned when she heard the bell, surprise flickering across her face. She wasn't in her corporate armor this time. Just a simple sweater, hair down, eyes tired. For the first time in years, she looked real. Human. Breakable. "You followed me," she said softly. "No," I replied. "Just found myself here." Her lips curved, almost a smile. "You never believed in coincidences before." I sat across from her, the way I used to. No walls, no contracts, no agendas. Just two people who used to be everything to each other. "Did you tell your father?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "He said I should sign the deal. Said it's a good offer, even if it came from you." "And what do you say?" She looked down, tracing the rim of her cup with her finger. "I say I wish I could change the reason you made it." For a long moment, we just sat there, in silence that weighed like memory. Then, I asked the question that had burned in my chest for 5 years. "Why did you leave me, Lila?" Her hands froze. She didn't look up. "You already know why." "No. I know what your father told me, that you were done, that you'd outgrown me. I know what the tabloids said, that you were engaged to someone else within a month. But I never knew why." She hesitated. Then, quietly, "Because I thought you'd leave first." I blinked. "What?" "You were struggling so much, Alex," she said, voice trembling. "Working nights, hiding your bills, blaming yourself for not being enough. And still you promised me the world. I believed you. But my father didn't. And when he threatened to destroy your future, I panicked. I thought if I left, you'd at least get a chance to rise without me pulling you down." I stared at her, the words carving slow, painful clarity through 5 years of bitterness. "So you broke me to save me?" I asked. Her shoulders sagged. "Something like that." I laughed, a low, bitter sound that didn't feel like me. "You don't save someone by destroying them, Lila." "I know," she whispered, tears glinting under the café's dim light. "But it's the only way I knew how to love you then." The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full. Full of every word we'd never said, every apology swallowed by pride. I reached into my coat pocket, pulled out the photograph she'd left behind in the folder. "You kept this," I said. She froze. I watched recognition and surprise and emotion all flash through her at once. "I thought I lost that." "You didn't," I said. "You left it. Maybe on purpose." She met my gaze, eyes glossy with something dangerously close to hope. "What would you have done if I had?" I wanted to tell her the truth, that I would have still taken the deal, still wanted revenge, still wanted her to feel what I'd felt. But I couldn't say it anymore. Because she already did. Her eyes said everything. The guilt, the pain, the love buried under too many lies. "You never stopped loving me, did you?" I asked quietly. She smiled sadly. "No. I just stopped believing I deserved to." My chest tightened so painfully I had to look away. 4 years, I thought I wanted her to suffer, to burn like I did. But seeing her like this, broken, human, alone, I realized revenge was never the cure. It was just proof that I still cared. "You don't owe me forgiveness, Alex," Lila said, standing up. "Sign the deal or don't. Hate me or don't. But whatever you decide, don't let me be the reason you keep destroying yourself." She walked past me, heading for the door. I turned to watch her go, that same familiar walk, that same quiet strength she used to hide behind. "Lila," I called. She paused. "Tell your father I'm withdrawing the offer." She turned, shocked. "What?" "I don't want Rosewood Industries," I said. "I wanted closure. And I have it now." Are you serious? Yeah. Let him keep his empire. I already built mine, and losing you taught me how. I stood, walked closer. My voice softened. Maybe that's enough revenge for one lifetime. Her breath hitched. Really? Then, what are you planning? I hesitated, then smiled faintly. Maybe we forgive ourselves, even if it takes another 5 years. Her eyes shimmered, 1,000 memories passing through them all at once. You always say things like that, she whispered. Like you still believe in happy endings. I don't, I said honestly. But with you, I want to try again. She didn't reply. She just nodded, quietly, tearfully, and left. And for the first time in years, I didn't chase her. Because love isn't about possession. It's not revenge or redemption. Sometimes, love means letting the story breathe again, even if it ends somewhere neither of you planned. The chair across from me stayed empty, but for once, it didn't hurt. Her eyes had remembered the boy I used to be. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough for the man I'd become.